When had you first met up on September 11th?
I can't remember the exact time. I would say around maybe 7 p.m.
Where?
At a bar over in Old Town Pasadena. We weren't meeting up.
Just a second.
Yeah.
So you were in a bar in Pasadena, 7 p.m., just the two of you, or were there more people?
No.
How many were there in the whole group?
I had around 5 or 6 people in my group, and we went
All
to a
friends?
Bar. Yeah.
And you?
He wasn't a part of that group.
But you were at the bar?
No, ma'am. I was at work when he contacted me.
Okay, so you were at the bar starting at 7 with your friends. He wasn't there?
Yeah.
Okay, what time did he join you?
It wasn't, I couldn't tell you the exact time.
Approximately?
About an hour later.
At the bar?
Yeah, but it wasn't a text or anything like that. He just happened to go to the same bar.
No, ma'am. What ended up happening from the start, I was at work. He contacted me via text. I don't
Do you have that text?
No, ma'am. I tried to erase the whole memory from my mind, so I deleted all the pictures and all the text messages.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
Yes.
That's unfortunate. I've never done that, by the way. You know, wanted to erase something from my mind, so I didn't just say I'm not going to think about it anymore. I've never done that. Did you ever do that, Sarah?
I have not.
You have not? And she's pretty efficient with text messages. Did you ever do that?
Never have I done that.
No. Well, you must be unusual, sir. Okay, so you met at the bar. What time did you get there?
Well, my shift ended at around 9 o'clock.
What time did you get to the bar?
10 o'clock.
And when you got to the bar, you met Mr. Costello.
Yes, ma'am.
He had a few friends with him. How long did you stay at the bar?
We were there till 12.
Okay, so Mr. Costello, you had been drinking from 7 until about 12.
Correct.
The answer is yes. Yes, of course. And what's your drink of choice, sir?
Beer.
What else?
The first bar that we were at doesn't serve hard alcohol, so it was just beer there.
Okay, so from 7 to when were you at the first bar?
Yeah.
From 7 to when?
7 to when? Till
To
12.
12.
Yeah.
So it's 7 to 12.
At the same time as well.
Okay, so from 7 to 12 you were drinking beer.
Yeah.
And then where did you go at 12 o'clock?
After 12 o'clock, we ended up going to another bar in Arcadia.
Okay, and you stayed there from when to when?
From 12 to closing, which is 2 a.m.
And you were part of that group?
Yes, that's when I initially met the group.
At the second bar or
At the
first?
second bar, yes.
Not at the first bar?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you got to the second bar, you were there you said you were there at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
So they weren't there when you arrived?
They were there when I arrived, yes.
Well, he said that, I thought he said he got to the second bar at 12 o'clock.
I arrived at the bar at around 10 o'clock, ma'am.
And you got there at 12 o'clock?
Yeah.
Yeah. So by the time you all got together and left the bar, you had all been drinking, you for a very long time and you for a shorter time.
Yes, ma'am.
So from 10 to 2, so 4 hours. And what's your drink of choice?
10 to 12, Your Honor. I apologize. 10 to 12.
Where did you go at 12 o'clock?
12 o'clock is when we had all decided to go to a park, kind of a low-key area.
No, he said that he went to a bar between 7 and 12. Am I correct, Whitney? Did he say?
12.
He said you were at the bar, first bar, between 7 and 12, drinking beer. That's what you said.
Correct.
You said the first bar only served beer. Is not an answer. Yes is an answer. You say at 12 o'clock, you went to a second bar where you had alcohol between 12 and 2.
Yes. Correct.
Yes?
Correct.
You got to a bar at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
Which one? The beer bar or the alcohol bar?
I finished my shift, like I said, at 9, and I showed up at the bar at 10 to meet up with them, to try to rekindle an old friendship.
Okay. Yeah. I actually don't care about that. All right, so partially you got your story straight, partially not. Anyway, you were two drunks. Now it's after 2 o'clock, and you decide to go to a park. How many people went to a park, and what park?
It was the same amount of people that I was with from the start.
And you were along at the park?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, it was.
Okay, did you take any beers to the park, or you went without them? You took
Yes.
beers to the park. The answer is yes.
Yeah, the main reasoning of going to the park was after the bar had closed. Jacob mentioned to the group that he had beers with him. So that incited us to go to the park and have some beers
continue
with him.
drinking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, prior to me showing up, I did stop by 7-Eleven and pick
Okay, so you had beers with you, and you were at the bar?
Yes.
Nice, very good. Now you get to the park, you're drinking beers. Now you're going to describe what you say is the assault that you suffered at the hands of Mr. Knapp. Now, I want you to know my feeling before you tell me the story.
Okay.
I usually don't get myself overly exercised about what drunks do in a park. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. I know that you may be all exercised about it, although I'm not exactly sure you're all exercised about it. So if you really are, I'm going to listen to you. If you're not,
Yeah.
we just eliminate this case. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If he starting.
He's in the
yes.
park, drunk.
Yes.
And
To state I was not drunk because I was driving my witness here.
I
my
want to
friend
tell you
Maureen.
something. If you were drinking
Yeah.
from 7 to 2, you were
I
drunk.
hadn't been drinking the whole time that I was
Let's
there.
go. Let's go.
Okay. So going into it, I was sitting at a park bench with Maureen here, and then I had another 2 friends that were on the other side, and we're hanging out. They had the 2 across from me got up. They went further into the park, and I was sitting with just her alone. And I was just about to show her a video off my phone. Next thing I know, I get hit in the face by a beer. After that occurs, I reach to my mouth to see something's wrong there, and I feel that like a part of my tooth is missing.
Okay, and that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's the assault that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And you allege that Mr. Knapp was the one who threw the beer bottle.
Yes,
Okay,
it was a full beer can.
a can.
Yeah, not bottle.
I have
Did
to
you
disagree.
report
I'm
this
sorry.
incident to the police?
I did not take it to the police
Just a
because.
second, I'm just asking you.
Oh, sorry.
The answer is no.
No.
I disagree. With
Disagree that he went to the police?
With his story.
Okay, I'll get there. Okay, so now you get hit in the face with a beer can, step by step. You look down, you look at your tooth.
Realize it's chipped. I say out loud, my tooth is chipped. She doesn't.
Don't tell me
believe it at
not
first.
about she, just
Oh,
you.
Just me. I noticed it was chipped, and then after I announced that it was chipped, several of my friends, I guess, went towards him, and I
Well,
don't
you
know.
didn't tell me anything about him. You didn't tell me. You just said you got hit in the face with a beer can.
Yeah.
That's all you said to
And
me.
he was the only other person I was standing right there, besides her sitting
Just a
next to
second.
me.
So you didn't see him throw the beer can at you.
There was no one else there.
I'm just.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I didn't see him throw it at me, but there was never a case of.
No, you didn't.
Of anything
That's
else, yeah.
all.
Yeah.
You didn't see him throw it at you.
No.
Okay, go.
From the park, Your Honor?
Take it from
All
the
right.
park.
So
Now I got 2 drunks in the park, maybe 3.
there was actually more than just 3 of us surrounding the table.
Just a second.
Me and
Go
him-
slowly.
Okay, sorry.
Slower.
Let me take
I
it
don't
down
know
a notch.
table. I have no idea what you're talking about.
So, as he was saying, we were sitting at a park bench. I had brought the beer. The beer was next to me. He had asked me to toss him a beer. And that's plainly what
Okay.
I did was I underhanded him lightly a beer to him. And in his defense, he's saying he wasn't drunk, but it definitely was apparent that he was. When
And
you lightly
anybody who's been
toss a
drinking
beer,
from 7 to 2 in the morning is drunk.
yes, ma'am. So I lightly tossed him a beer, and unfortunately, it was dark enough to where he had missed, and the beer had hit him in the face. Which, after immediately, I started to apologize to him, stating that I didn't mean to, but it was apparent he was looking at me and did not catch the beer. So personally, I think everything he said to you
Okay,
right now was
that's your story. You tossed him a beer
Yeah.
because he asked you. He said, toss me a beer.
yes, Your Honor.
And it was dark,
Yes,
and you were drunk, and he was drunk.
I wasn't drunk, Your Honor. I had 4 beers within the time of 10 o'clock till
I'm not-
when this incident happened.
You know, I'm not real comfortable with that, sir.
Okay.
Because according to you, you had been drinking for 4 hours. And not only were you drinking for 4 hours, but you brought extra alcohol to have in the park. By the way,
Which was a
by the
closed
way,
container.
where do you live? In what
In
city?
Pasadena, Your Honor.
In California. Are you allowed to drink alcohol in parks in California?
I'm not certain.
Well, let's find out. Open beer cans in city parks in California.
That's a no.
So after,
We're not talking yet.
I'm sorry, excuse me.
Drinking alcoholic beverages is a prohibited activity in parks and park areas, according to the Pasadena City Park rules.
Thank you. This park that you went to, what's the name of it?
I'm not sure. It was up the street from the last bar we were at.
Okay. Now, did you, Mr. Costello, and the defendant, immediately after this event, did you communicate with him via text or email?
I texted him, I think it was roughly a couple of days later.
Okay. I'd like to see the text.
I have that.
That's all I
The
want to
other
see.
thing I could-
Don't say anything else. to
Okay.
me. Just show me the text that you sent him a couple of days later.
There it is.
Okay, thanks, Kevin. I'd like to see these texts from your phone, and I'd like to see all your text messages starting September 14th
It's right here.
of 2021. No, sir, you have to understand. What you said to me here, what you gave me, is 2 texts a year apart. I want to see the texts to him.
There was nothing.
After September 14th, you mean he didn't respond at all to this? I don't believe that.
My next thing that I did was I sent a letter through the mail, and I have that here, and I have proof of it where I had it where he had to sign for it, and I have the receipt for it as well.
What date?
That one, I can pull it up right here.
I'm sorry, what letter? I never received a letter.
Just a second. So what you're telling me is that I'm supposed to believe that after you sent this email on September 14th, which is 3 days after the event, he never responded to you, and you never sent a follow-up email or text.
That was the letter. And in the letter I gave him...
Shh, just a second.
Okay.
Oh, here. Take this back. It's nonsense. I don't want to see something prepared for litigation, sir. You said you had a document that you sent to him that he had to sign for. If you sent him a letter, return receipt requested, then you have a return receipt requested with a signature on it. That's a document that you prepared 2 days ago.
I have the receipt in here.
Let's get it.
Okay.
I never signed such document.
Just don't shout out again.
Yes, ma'am.
It's annoying, and I'm annoyed enough with this case.
I'm sorry for being so unorganized.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you're so unorganized too, or disorganized.
Oh, here it is.
Great.
Certified mail. They're stuck to the back one.
This was sent April of 2022. I want to see what the response was. There had to be a response.
I never got a
since
response
September
from
14th, 2021. There had to be a response.
I never got a response from him.
Kevin, show this to Mr. Knapp and tell me if he recalls this text message.
Your Honor, no, I do not remember getting this text.
Why would you respond a year later? I know from the past, dealing with Mr. Knapp here, he tends to always, being friends, whenever get into an altercation or argument, he unfollows me, blocks me on everything.
Okay.
So there's a possibility by that text message not going through.
I don't deal in possibilities, sir.
I sent the text message, and I have proof of there. It was delivered, and I never got a response from him.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Sir, this incident happened September 11th. You have to understand, I think that if that's what happened. I tend to believe that the defendant did not just willy-nilly take a can and fling it at your face. I want you to know that I don't believe that. You were stupid enough to throw the beer can in his direction. You're too drunk that you were sitting with this lady who, according to you, you were supposed to drive home. That's what you said 5 minutes ago. So you were supposed to drive home, which means she was trashed, because that's what you said. You said, I wasn't...
This was the arrangements from the very beginning of the night.
Okay. Do you understand? So we had a whole bunch of trashed people. And I am more likely to believe the defendant when he says you said to him, toss me a beer, and it accidentally hit you in the face.
My questioning is that the...
I don't answer questions.
Okay, well, where the beer was placed on the table, I don't understand why I would have to ask him to toss me a beer when I can simply reach over and grab one myself.
I don't know either. But
no
it
sense.
sounds more likely to me than not that it was his beer, he brought it there, and you said to him, toss me a beer, and you failed to catch it. Now, that doesn't mean that the defendant isn't at least partially responsible for the stupidity of that night. But you have some responsibility, too, because I really don't believe that he left the bar. He was angry and frustrated over something that you had no idea what he was angry and frustrated over, because you were all sitting together, and he just, out of the blue, took a beer and threw it at your face. I don't believe that. Do you understand?
If I could show you a picture here, you could see that if he just simply tossed me a beer, I don't understand how a beer can could chip my tooth the way that it did.
Just a second. It can. It can.
Okay.
I can eat a biscotti and it can chip my tooth. Biscotti, that's a cookie, a very hard cookie. And have. And have. I mean, I could chip my tooth on my grandmother's steak, it was so hard. But certainly from a beer can. So I don't believe that you're blameless. What was your dental bill, sir?
I have the statements here.
While he's looking for that, you understand that if you were sitting there and instead of a bunch of beer cans, and the plaintiff said to you, you know, that gun that's in your pocket, toss it over to me. I want to take a look at it. And you did. You took the gun out of your pocket and you tossed it over to him. And as you were tossing it over, it accidentally fired. Would it be his fault if he got shot?
No.
No. Whose fault would it be?
Mine.
Right. Because you weren't supposed to do that.
Right.
Because it was potentially dangerous.
Of course.
Well, same thing with a knife or an explosive device.
Right.
Or something very hot, like toss me a cup of coffee in a container and it splatters. So you don't do what anybody asks you to do if it's not a smart thing to do.
Right.
Unless you're drunk. Unless you're drunk.
Your Honor,
then,
if I may.
Yeah.
Coming from a baseball background, such as me and Gio did,
I don't care about your baseball background. There's no question, sir, that you acknowledge you threw it at him. And I'm telling you that your excuse is that he asked me to do it, so I followed the fool's directions. I'm telling you, he's going to pay part of his dental bill because I think it was partially his responsibility. But if you acknowledge that you were stupid enough to throw the beer can in his direction, you have to be partially liable. You're two drunks, that's what happens. So don't get so drunk and go to a park. How old are you?
27.
27 is, and you?
28, Your Honor.
28. You know, old enough not to be so stupid. You know, you can figure 17, 18-year-olds are so stupid. At age 28, you should be doing something constructive. I assume you work?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a chef.
And you?
I'm a lumberman, Your Honor.
Okay, so you're both gainfully employed, letting off a little steam. That's fine. But if there's a problem that develops because anybody is not operating on all cylinders because of alcohol, you have to take responsibility. What was the dental bill?
My dental bill came out to $2,342.
Can I see that, please, Kevin?
I have this here. I'll give you both.
Was any of this dental bill covered by insurance?
On the dental, no.
Okay. Anything else?
My wholeheartedly truth is I didn't ask him for a beer. I had no problems. I was avoiding him the whole night for the most part because from the past, Jacob has had a way worse drinking problem than I've ever gotten to. I went out that night solely to have a couple drinks, hang out with friends. The night went longer than expected.
Very nice. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,171, which is half of your dental bill. You pay half. Don't get drunk. You're too old to get drunk. I don't believe that he maliciously threw this at you. I think that you asked for a beer, tossed it at you, and you missed. That was his stupidity and yours. We're done here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This court is adjourned.
All I did was I underhand lightly tossed it over to him, and that's really what happened.
I did nothing wrong to deserve to get a beer thrown in my face like a baseball.
Unfortunately, he chipped his tooth, and so it was unfortunate.
I said, hey, Jacob, look, you chipped my tooth. Look what you just did.
No more drinking in the parks, guys.
Not to do it again.
I think this situation is the exact reason cities like Pasadena have rules about drinking alcohol in parks, because like you always say, it's not an on purpose, it's an accident. But a lot of times there are certain things that can increase the probability of an accident happening.
True.
And I think drinking at 2 a.m. in a park probably is one of those things.
That's true. So so many times rules and regulations don't seem to have any substance of reason behind it. But this certainly is an example of why when the bar closes at 2 o'clock, you felt something hit your car.
Yes. I saw the car back up into me, and then she proceeds to leave.
Because I didn't believe it.
You weren't sure you hit anything.
When I did not hit any.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. North, this is your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
Why don't you have a seat? Because you actually weren't involved nor a witness to the incident. Are you the owner of the car?
No, ma'am.
Okay, why don't you have a seat? Tell me your first name.
Bella.
Bella. Bella, from what I gather from reading the papers, you and the defendant's daughter were good friends
Yes, still are.
and have been friends for a very long time. So, not a very difficult case. You were going to visit Miss Olson's daughter, Lotus.
Yep.
And according to you, you've done that innumerable times in the past. You were also 17 at the time?
Yes.
You went to visit Lotus, trying to find the date in your complaint,
If I
on
may-
April 16th of 2022.
Yes.
And when you got to the house, which you had done many, many times before. According to you, you parked behind the defendant's car.
Yes, I did.
Was the defendant in her car at the time you parked your car?
I did not see the car on when I pulled up behind it. I turned around for a moment to gather my things, to my backpack, my charger, everything. I then look up and I see the car is on. I never saw anyone. You
never saw anyone get in the car?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Now, could you tell me what kind of car were you driving?
A 2001 Honda Accord.
So a very small car.
Yes, sedan.
And you were in a large car, Miss Olson? Your car is a large car.
Yes, Your Honor.
What kind of car is it?
It's a Suburban.
Now, can you tell me why you parked behind her car? If you parked behind her car, you were blocking her in.
Yes. So I parked behind her car because Lotus has told me in the past.
You can't tell me anything that Lotus told you.
Okay. I parked behind her car so that the driveway to my left was free for people to come in and out, because I am aware that she does have residents in her home, and
But that means that she couldn't get her car out if you were parked right behind her.
Correct.
Okay? Now, is there parking on the street, Mrs. Olson?
Yes, Your Honor.
May I see that? No, I don't want to. Thank you.
May I describe what is in the photo?
Well, I'm just asking you, is there on-street parking here or not?
It's not laid out, but you're allowed to park on the street. We have also additional parking next door at the neighbors. They've invited us to park.
No, you can't tell me that they
Okay,
invited
yes,
you.
sorry.
I'm just asking whether Miss North could have parked someplace else. And the answer is she could have. It was more convenient to park behind your Suburban. Now, as you turned around to gather your backpack, according to your complaint, you felt something hit your car, your 21-year-old car, right?
Yes.
Would you look up 2001 Honda? Where did you get the car from?
I got it from a small dealership in my town, Sarasota.
Who purchased it?
I did.
For how much?
$3,000.
Okay. And you felt something hit your car?
Yes.
And then you looked up, according to what I read, and you saw the backup lights on.
Yes, I looked up, saw the reverse lights on, waited, saw the car back up into me, hit my car, I honk, the car stops. The car then continues to reverse again, hitting my car. I honk, they stop. I then turn back on my car. I reverse away so she can get out, and then she proceeds to leave.
Okay. And show me what the damage was to your car.
Yes, ma'am.
The Kelly Blue Book value is $2,500 to $3,500, so right in the range.
Great. What is this? A picture of?
The 2 scratches and the dent.
Let me see the whole car.
I do not have a picture of my whole car.
Well, that's unfortunate. I see a scratch. I don't know if it's a scratch. I see some.
There's a hole towards the corner of the light that was not there before. My whole light is.
You mean this?
Mm-hmm. Yep. See where there's a gap in the light is supposed to be collided with the bumper, and it's not. Mm-hmm. It was hit and damaged.
Okay. Did you see her car when you came out?
No, Your Honor.
She didn't see you, so you were in the car, I assume, when she pulled up behind you. Do you understand? So she was in her car, in her driveway, when you pulled up in your car and blocked her car in. If you had seen her in the car, would you have parked behind her?
No.
So you didn't look to see whether she was in her car?
No.
And she was in her car, and her car is high. You look up, you have a big Suburban. You don't expect anybody to be stupid enough to park behind your car. You're in your car already, because clearly she didn't see you pull up because she was in her car, right? Now I'm going to ask you, because you say you don't remember hitting something or you weren't sure you hit anything. Is that your answer that I'm getting?
When my other daughter drove up, parked the vehicle, left it running, ran inside the house, I ran out and, of course, checked behind me and drove out.
I asked you a question. You didn't?
I did not hit anything.
Well, you don't remember hitting anything.
Correct, Your Honor.
Yeah, because I don't think Miss North would have made up this story. You had a big car, backed out, and you drove away. Did you see her car pull off when you backed out?
No, Your Honor.
You did not?
No, Your Honor.
When she pulled out, did she go in the same direction as you did or the opposite direction?
The same direction.
Okay. Did you see her car after you pulled out?
No, Your Honor. Not until 2 hours later when we met.
Tell me what happened 2 hours later.
After returning from my appointment, I met Bella at the next door neighbors where we parked, and that's when we examined each other's vehicles.
Well, did she call you? How did you find out that there was an accusation that you would hit her car?
Because we met at the designating parking spots that we've agreed to park at. And
So
not-
there was just serendipitous that you met there at the same time, or had you been in communication either with her or your daughter?
I was at a brief appointment, and when I returned home, that's where I parked. And Bella also parked there because that is where we
Okay,
parked.
so when you moved
this-
your car after the defendant, according to you, hit your car, did you park in another spot?
Yes,
Did you park in the neighbor's spot?
I did.
Okay, so that would indicate to me that you were aware that you were supposed to, or could, if there were other cars in it, park in the neighbor's spot, because otherwise I wouldn't park in a neighbor's house. So you were aware you could park there.
I'm never sure when the neighbors are home or not, and I don't feel comfortable parking at a neighbor's
But you
house.
did park in the neighbor's spot after this happened on April 16th. You did not pull back into Miss Olson's driveway. You pulled into the neighbor's spot.
I did.
And then you went into the house to visit Lotus, right?
Yes.
Now, Lotus didn't witness this, I assume?
No.
When you met in the neighbor's spot, did you show Miss Olson the damage?
I did. We didn't meet there. We met outside of her house as I was leaving Lotus's house and she was going in. I confronted her about it, and then...
Tell me what you said when you say you confronted her. Tell me what you said to her. That's the question.
I said, "Are you aware that you hit something earlier? That was my car. Do you want to go check it out?"
Is that the conversation that you had with her outside?
No, Your Honor.
Are you trying to tell me that it happened earlier in the year and your dogs just found the hole? They had never been out before? Is that what you're saying? You confronted her.
Heather knew that she...
Don't tell me what she knew. Tell
Okay.
me what you said to her. That's the question.
I said, "Are you aware that you hit something earlier? That was my car. Do you want to go check it out?"
And she said,
Yes, of course.
and?
And then she did. She said, "Okay, the damage will probably be at least $600. And then she told me to go to an auto body shop, which I did. And she told me to get an estimate, which I did. And that was that.
Okay. Is that the conversation that you had with her outside?
No, Your Honor.
Tell me your version of the conversation that you had with her. Will you acknowledge that you met her?
Yes, when Bella and I met outside, she came at me accusing me of hitting her vehicle. Sorry.
Tell me what she said to you and you said to her.
She did say that I hit her vehicle and asked me to look at her vehicle damage. Immediately, I agreed to go look at both vehicles, and we looked at both vehicles. We both took photos of both vehicles. There was minor damage all the way around her vehicle, and I could not see any damage on mine, and I could not understand.
Just a second.
Yes.
Did you look at her vehicle
No.
at that time? Why not?
We never looked at her vehicle. We only looked at mine.
Well, she drove in her vehicle.
Yes.
Why wouldn't you look at her vehicle?
It was about my vehicle. We were
No, it was-
concerned with my damage.
It was your damage, but you were contributorily negligent.
I understand that, yeah.
Well, you'd understand that, so you'd want to look at her vehicle too. Did you ever have a conversation with her and say to her, take her to a body shop?
Yes, Your Honor, that is true.
Okay.
I said, go ahead and see if they can find any damage that could have been caused by an accident like that, because I didn't believe it and I didn't remember ever hitting her. And I thought it would be more like $200. Bella did come back with an invoice for $600 or $700. And then that was shocking to me because I couldn't believe that there was any damage just from that. So it turned out that the body work she was going to have done was basically her entire bumper and both headlights, which seems like a lot.
Which is not the damage that, even assuming arguendo that you caused, she only showed me a picture of one headlight. Can
Yes,
I
Your
see
Honor.
the estimate that you have?
Do you want all three or just the one that she...
What do you want to tell me, Lotus?
I was a witness to that conversation.
Oh, I'd like to hear it.
Yes.
Stand up, move over. Are you living at home?
No longer.
When did you move out?
I would say the second week of June.
Did you have a fight with your mother about this event?
No, I did not want to get
Great,
involved.
great. Okay, tell me exactly what you heard your mother say.
She said, "This is my auto parts place, and if you go there, I will pay for those damages."
Okay, do you remember that conversation?
Basically, that's correct, that I said, go to this bodywork person that I know, because I thought he'd see that's silly and
Well, okay.
turn her away.
But your daughter is making a statement. Is that the statement? Go to my body shop and I'll take care of it.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Can I see the receipt that makes it? Have a seat, please. This says customer pays $0, insurance pays $7.95. In my historical brain of information, an estimate from a body shop when they believe insurance is going to pay for it is always a little bit inflated. Did you have your car fixed?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. You agreed to pay for the damage. That's what you agreed to. I will tell you, if you had not agreed to pay for the damage, I would find the plaintiff 50% responsible for this accident. She was as negligent as you were in hitting her car, and I do believe that you hit her car. So, absent an agreement by you to pay for the damage, I would actually split this between the two of you and find the plaintiff 50% contributorily negligent. But since you agreed to pay for the damage and you acknowledge you agreed to pay for the damage, I must rely on this bill, which is $795. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you.
Thank
Court
you.
is adjourned.
I don't think it caused too much friction as we were never that close.
Still in shock.
Obviously, I'm still close with her daughter, so it hasn't caused too much friction.
I agreed with your judgment to give the plaintiff a little bit of money, but I'm not so sure on the contributory negligence reasoning. I agree that parking behind someone's vehicle is never ideal, but if you're going to operate a motor vehicle, you have to check your surroundings. I think that people have to be more careful when they're
People have
driving.
to be vigilant, but just because there's an accident doesn't mean it has to be always someone's fault.
Sure.
That's why they invented the doctrine of contributory negligence. I actually think it was just lazy of the plaintiff to park in a spot. She wasn't paying attention to her surroundings because she didn't see the defendant in her car. The defendant ran into her car, didn't see the little car behind. I believe that they were equally responsible. But for the agreement that the defendant made, I would not have awarded her the whole thing. I would have awarded her 50%.
Seemed like just a case of blind spots and bad timing.
Yeah, that's true.
Case 2078, Ali versus Miller. All parties, please step forward.
Syed Ali is suing dog owner Abram Miller for car damage from a dog attack.
Mr. Ali, you bought yourself a Tesla.
Yes, ma'am.
A new one?
Yes.
When did you buy it?
I bought it on 6th of June.
Of this year.
Yes.
How much did you pay for it, sir?
68.
And there was a loan on the car?
There's a loan on the car here.
So you have full insurance on the car?
Yes.
What's your deductible?
Deductible is $1,000.
$1,000.
Yes.
This is what your case is about. You were going to check on a child's house of yours.
Yes, ma'am. It's my son's house. I go there every day. We bought that house for on my son's and my name. It's for my...
Oh, so it's a house that's jointly owned by you and your son?
Yes, ma'am.
But you don't live there regularly?
I don't live there.
And where does Mr. Miller live?
He lives on a different street, but his backyard and my backyard, they meet each other in the back.
How long have you owned that house?
Since 2014.
Long time.
Long time.
Have you met Mr. Miller?
I met him a few times, yes.
Mr. Miller, you recall meeting Mr. Ali?
Yes, ma'am, once.
Okay, but you've met him?
Yes, ma'am.
Before June 6th?
Yes, ma'am.
And your son lives in the house. Anybody else live in the house? You live
Ali
in the house.
and-
Is this a tenant in the house?
She's a tenant.
Yes.
Does your son have dogs?
No.
And does the tenant have a dog?
She does.
What kind of dog?
A Yorkie.
You have a Yorkie?
Yes.
It's a small dog.
Yes.
Yes.
So you have one Yorkie in the house. And you have 2 dogs.
Yes, ma'am.
What kind?
A pit bull breed.
Pit bull?
Yes, ma'am.
And the other?
No, both are the same.
Both are the same.
One's actually the mom and the son.
And how old are they?
The mom's 10, the son's about 8
And you've had them for years.
since they were born.
So June 16th, you go to check on the house.
Yes.
Tell me what you saw when you pulled up to the house.
When I went there to the house to check my mail, I saw 2 dogs.
Where did you see the
I
2
saw
dogs?
them in the porch.
On your porch?
Yes.
Okay. Had you ever seen those dogs before?
No, I never saw them before.
Could you describe them for me?
They're a big size. They are black and white, and they're...
One was black and white or both black and white?
No, the one is black and white, and I have some pictures of them.
Oh, you took photos?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Judge.
You took photos of them on the porch or initially when you saw them?
After I saw them, I was walking out, then I took the picture.
Okay, may I see the photograph? Take out the photographs of your dogs. Would you say, give me both photographs, please? I see. One is black.
One is white.
And one is fawn color and white. Are these pictures of your dogs?
Those are pictures of my dogs.
At his house?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now your dogs are out. You're not at his house, just your dogs.
Just the dogs.
Okay, so now I got it. So you took pictures of the dogs the day of this incident at your house?
Yes.
And these are your dogs?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, tell me what happened with your car. Most states now exclude.
Then I realized that I think maybe I need to get away from them because they were very ferocious and growling. And I quietly walked away from them, go to my car, lock myself in, and I said, I need to get out. So I saw them, they were jumping all around my car and biting everything.
They were biting what?
Biting the right side of the tire, this side, and the rim and all that.
What your claim is that the dogs caused a substantial amount of damage to your car.
Right.
May I see the photographs of the damage?
Yes, ma'am.
So the car had scratches on it, I see. And what about the wheel rim? Is that, you're also showing me the scratches on the wheel rim?
Yes, they were biting all the rims and the tire, and they went into the front and bit on the bumper.
May I see that? Okay, have you seen the pictures?
Yes, ma'am.
He sent you pictures of damage.
He sent me some pictures, yes,
of the damage. Okay, so now, Mr. Miller, what Mr. Ali is saying is that your dogs, who he has pictures of, that you acknowledge are your dogs,
Yes, ma'am.
caused damage to his car that he had for a week, that he paid almost $70,000 for. The dogs were clearly outside of your control. They were out of your control because you acknowledged that the photographs of them are without collars, without leashes, nobody around them, and the photographs are taken at his house. I'd like to hear a defense.
Your Honor, there was no way for my dogs to have done the damage. My dogs are older. One of them has no teeth. We have to put water and stuff on her food just so she can eat. The other dog's teeth are filed down. Both of them are up in age. My dogs have never harmed anyone. I have 10 cars of my own in my yard, and I've never had my dogs biting any tires, any damage.
Mr. Miller.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why they call dogs dogs. They're animals.
Yes, ma'am.
Because on one dog, it looks as if the incisors are filed down a little bit. Still has teeth, but the incisors are filed down. Is what you're telling me, that that was a natural process, or you had them filed down?
No, ma'am. Absolutely natural.
Absolutely not what?
Absolutely natural.
Absolutely natural. Okay, so the dogs still have teeth. They are smoother rather than sharp, but they still have teeth. Okay, but that's why they're dogs. You weren't there to witness this, so I have to assume that what the plaintiff tells me is true, because his evidence is consistent with that. He has photographs of your dogs outside of your control, no collar, no leash, at his house. And he said that he took those pictures on the date of the incident, and he has damage to his car. Now, if somebody has that problem, they don't want to blame the wrong person. And the dogs he's identified as causing the damage are your dogs. I'm still waiting for a defense. You mean the fact that they've never done it before you think is a defense?
No, ma'am, not.
What were they doing outside of your control?
They actually got out of my yard from a previous tenant of his dogs that dug a hole up under my gate.
Just a second. So a previous tenant of his had a dog.
I had several dogs.
Several dogs.
Yes, ma'am.
Doesn't live there anymore, dug a hole under the fence. When did that happen?
That was earlier that year.
Okay, and when did you first discover it?
I didn't realize it until after this incident.
Are you trying to tell me that it happened earlier in the year and your dogs just found the hole? They had never been out before? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I don't believe that, sir. You're responsible for his deductible. Did you have the car fixed?
No, not yet, ma'am.
Why not?
I have an estimate, and I approached him of that, and I said, let's see if we can do something about this.
Mr. Ali.
Yes, sir.
You
Yes,
have
ma'am.
insurance.
Yes.
And you have insurance for this type of problem.
Yes, Judge.
And you have a $1,000 deductible.
Yes, Judge.
Did you advise your insurance company?
I wasn't, because I was trying to see what my good friend neighbor wants to do.
Do you own your home?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have homeowners insurance?
Yes, ma'am.
Does the homeowners insurance exclude your pit bulls?
Do they exclude them? I'm not sure.
Well, in what state do you live?
Florida.
In Florida. Would you look up and see what's the name of your insurance carrier?
I'm not sure, Your Honor. I just switched insurance companies.
Did you have insurance, homeowners insurance, in June?
Yes, ma'am.
You did?
Absolutely.
Well, did you inform your insurance company that there was a problem?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
Because I was trying to get an understanding of what was going on.
I'm just telling you what's going on. So now you know what's going on. Your dogs caused damage to his car. Most states now exclude certain dogs from their policy. One that's right on top of the list are pit bulls. You are aware of that.
Yes, ma'am.
And either you pay a higher premium or the insurance company says we're not insuring them. You do understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now you understand. Does your policy exclude your pit bulls?
I don't think so. No, ma'am.
Well, I don't know, and I don't know how to find that out unless you can give me a definitive answer, Sarah. It depends upon the insurance company.
It does.
Yeah, and you don't remember your insurance company. So Mr. Ali, he's not paying the $8,000 that it's going to take to fix your car. That's what you have insurance for. Okay? But he's going to pay the deductible. You have insurance. It's a brand new car because you have a loan. So you must have insurance, which I'm sure you do.
Yes, I do.
Then if you were having a difficult time with Mr. Miller and his insurance, which I could probably understand because it may exclude his dogs from the policy, you have to advise your insurance company. And I don't understand why you didn't do that.
But I was going to see if he wants to go ahead and fix it.
Well, he's not paying $8,000 to fix it. He's going to pay the $1,000 deductible on your policy.
He was suggesting me that he could just go and get a spray paint and paint that little thing. And I didn't like that idea. And I said, let's go to Tesla and have it done by the properly from...
Absolutely. I agree with you. It's a brand new car. You should have it done by Tesla through your insurance.
That's true. Yes.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000, which covers your deductible. We're finished.
This court is adjourned.
Animal control said my dogs were so loving and peaceful. They showed no aggression to them.
I mean, I like to have people as good neighbors.
Even after they put the pole and the hoop around their necks, my dogs were wagging their tails.
The neighbor's dog has some damage to my car, and I want the neighbor to be up to that responsibility.
The plaintiff bought a new Tesla and has a loan on the Tesla. When you have a loan on a car, you're required by the lender to maintain insurance, both collision and liability. This is not a malicious act. It was a careless act. And I think he should use his insurance to pay for it. I think it was fair. I don't think that there was an issue of fact. Did you?
No, I didn't. I think that was fair because you have insurance for that purpose so that you don't have to pay $8,000 out of pocket to fix damage from an accident. So